Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So for today's session, we are going to be doing our live analysis session. So if you guys have any requests for any charts, feel free to let me know in the chat. We'll give about 2 more minutes to let more people join our session before we get started. In the meantime, let me know in the chat if you guys can see me and hear me. And yeah, I'll see you guys in about 2 more minutes. Thanks everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So as per usual, a disclaimer and a risk warning. Okay, just why is my screen not changing? Hmm. Just give me 1 second to figure this out. Um, okay. So IC markets, disclaimer and risk warning, trading forex and CFDs carries a high level of risk to your capital, and you should only trade with money you can afford to lose. Trading forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors, so please ensure that you fully understand the risk involved and seek independent advice if necessary. Please read and ensure you fully understand our risk disclosure. So here's today's agenda. We're going to start off by looking at some FX majors, followed by commodities, crypto, and indices. We'll just keep the custom requests rolling, so feel free to just let me know in the chat if you guys have any requests at any time. Okay, so I'm Melanie and I'll be a speaker for today. I'm an investment analyst at Rocket who are finalists for Best FX and Equity Research from the years 2019 to 2021. Specialized in technical analysis with a focus on Fibonacci retracements, extensions, and projections. Okay, let me pull out my charts and then we can go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and oops, just a second. Hmm. Okay, let's start off by looking at. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. Mm, sorry guys, just give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this week's fundamental events first. So for today, we had the Australian retail sales data, which came out to be 0.6%, which is higher than the forecasted 0.4. Tomorrow we have US PMI data. We also have FOMC member Wallace speaking. Okay, great. It works now. Okay, we also have FOMC member Wallace speaking. We have Switzerland CPI data, which is inflationary data, and that's expected to be at minus 0.1%. And then on Wednesday, we have US jobs job openings. We have Australia's GDP, UK's Bank of England Gov Bailey speaking. And on Thursday, we have the ADP non-farm employment change, ECB President Lagarde speaking, US PMI data again, crude oil inventories, Fed Chair Powell speaking, construction PMI, OPEC GMMC meetings, and lastly on Friday we have US unemployment claims and Canadian IV PMI. Okay, now if you're unfamiliar with this site, I just want to briefly go through how you can use it. So you can actually control the dates that you're looking at. So for this week, since we're doing a weekly kind of live analysis, we're looking at 2nd to 6th. And then if you click on this green icon, this green filter button, you can also select the low impact events and as well as any non-economic events. I just have it filtered to only focus on the medium to high impact events now because it's a bit more streamlined and easier to go through. You can see if we look at all of the events for that week, it's quite a number to look at. So that's why we just streamline it and focus on the medium to high impact events, which are the orange and red icon. Okay, that's for expectory. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some charts. So let me just check our chat and see if we have any requests. Okay, we can go ahead and start off by looking at DXY. Oops. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So on our weekly time frame, you can see prices generally moving upwards with a recent reversal. Now on our daily time frame, we can also see that trend. We have prices moving in an ascending trend line. Okay, this level here would be my first resistance. This is my first support. And actually, I think I'll place my first support here instead. This is my second support. Okay, so generally we are expecting prices to continue upwards. Okay, we have our 50% that lines up with our first support, first resistance. So it doesn't really have to line up exactly. I'm more looking at this entire area here. Um, and our 23, 23 and 38 both line up. So I'm gonna keep those. Oops, we already have that. So I minus my 127 lines up with my first resistance. And this is our Fibonacci extension, or also known as our Nike tick. So you can kind of see that Nike tick shape here. Okay, okay, even though some of these levels do line up, price has already broken out of them, so you can't use that anymore. Mm, okay, I think that's all the levels we have. So now let's take a look at some indicators and see if they support our analysis. So starting with Ichimoku, prices are moving above the clouds, so they are giving us a bullish signal. MACD, you can see, is kind of giving us a bit of a bearish signal, so I'm going to remove that since it doesn't support our analysis. Let's look at RSI and stochastic. Okay, we can kind of see prices moving in an uptrend here. Here as well. Okay, so overall bullish on both of these indicators as well. Okay. Yeah, so overall pretty bullish. We are expecting prices to reverse off our first support and continue upwards towards our first resistance. Okay, and this is on our daily time frame. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at WTI. So on our daily time frame, we have a weekly first. Okay, we have prices moving in a downtrend. Daily as well, we see prices moving in. Let's see if we have a trend channel. Okay, we have prices moving in this descending trend channel. Okay, and then here is my second support. Okay, my 78 also lines up. I think my 100 as well. Okay, kind of. Mm, okay, maybe not. Okay, so now I think we might have a retracement. Mm, okay, you can see my 38 lines up nicely with my first resistance. Okay, now let's see if our indicators support our analysis. Bollinger Bands as well. Okay, it looks like we are kind of prices are moving below the cloud, so it is giving us a bearish signal. MACD you can see is giving us a bit of a bullish signal, so that doesn't support our analysis. Bollinger Bands wise, it looks like we might be seeing a bit of a Bollinger squeeze here. But I'll KIV that for now. Let's also look at our RSI and stochastic. Okay, we have prices moving downwards on our RSI and stochastic. Okay, we don't really have a trend line, but we can definitely see prices moving um, downwards, or indicators giving us a kind of bearish signal. Okay, so this is for WTI. We are expecting prices to continue downwards and to break out of that first support. Okay. Okay, so that's for WTI. Um, okay. Let's go ahead and look at goals now. So on our weekly time frame, prices are moving upwards generally, but recently we see a bit of a reversal. Okay, so let's analyze on our daily time frame for this week. This is my first resistance. First support, maybe over here at this overlap level. And then second support up here at the swing high. Second resistance, sorry. Okay, our Fibonacci levels, you can see the 38 lines up. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the 61 lines up as well. Okay, my 23 lines up with my first support. And my 38. Okay, I'm gonna add a projection here as well. Okay, my 78 and 100, or 78 and 61 also line up. Okay, so you can see prices kind of moving sideways now, so there isn't really much of a trend. But overall, I am expecting prices to continue downwards. But of course, dependent on whether it breaks out of that support level or not. So we'll just put a question mark here. Okay, so prices are moving within the cloud, which is a bit of a transition phase. So I'm going to hide that. Our MACD is giving us a bit of a mixed signal as well, so we can't use that for now. Let's maybe look at Bollinger Bands and RSI stochastic. Okay, again, you see Bollinger Bands kind of moving in the middle, price moving in the middle of the Bollinger Band, so that isn't telling us much. Yeah, our indicators are also not telling us much since prices are kind of moving in the middle. Okay, but we are expecting it to continue to drop, especially since gold is inversely, most times inversely correlated to DXY. And as we just saw on our DXY, we are expecting prices to continue upwards. Okay, so we might see gold continue to drop. But for now, it's moving kind of sideways. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's move on now. Let's look at dollar yen. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, we can see prices recently dropping. On our daily time frame as well. Okay, so I'm gonna place my first resistance here, or maybe um. Okay, this would be my first support. Okay, here's my first resistance, first support, and my second support maybe just here. My 38 lines up nicely. Mm, yeah, I think that's actually all the levels that we have. So let's go ahead and pull out some indicators again. So prices are generally moving downwards, so we're gonna go according to the general trend. So MACD is giving us a bearish signal. Prices are bouncing off the clouds, so it doesn't support our analysis right now. Bollinger Bands, you can see, are pushing below the bottom band, so they both support our analysis. Let's look at our moving averages and parabolic saw. Okay, prices are moving below all three indicators, so that also supports our analysis. Stochastic is giving us quite a bit of bearish momentum here. You can see prices dropping and heading towards the oversold regions. RSI isn't really telling us much. Okay. Yeah. I think that's all for Japanese yen. Are there any questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, okay, we have another request for Aussie dollar. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, we have prices moving in a downtrend. Okay, and this is okay on our weekly time frame. Yeah, you also see a downtrend. Um, dollar, or rather, Aussie dollar on our daily time frame also in a downtrend. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at this on our daily time frame. Okay, here's my first support. And my second support maybe just down here. And first resistance up here. Okay, my 38.2 lines up nicely. Okay, my 61.8 also lines up with my first support. Okay, 61.8 also lines up with my first resistance. Okay, my 100% also lines up with my first support. Now, this is on our weekly time frame, on our daily time frame. on our daily time frame, offer support here. This is my first resistance and my second support. Okay, and my 100% lines up with my first support. Let's look at a retracement. Okay, my 161 lines up with my first support. So here we have a confluence area over here. We might have a retracement over here as well. Okay, my 38.2 lines up with my first resistance. Okay, now let's look at some indicators. Ichimoku MACD. So we have prices moving below the cloud, which is giving us a bearish signal, so that does support our analysis. MACD, on the other hand, you can kind of see prices moving upwards. I think that we might have enough bearish momentum to push it downwards. But like I said, we have a confluence area here, so we'll just have to see if prices reverse off this level and hit upwards. Okay, they perhaps might. Let's look at other indicators. Okay, we have a bit of a hidden resistance here. So each time that prices bounced off, this hidden resistance prices went upwards. So we might be seeing that same thing happening here as well, on our RSI as well. Oh, actually, no. On our RSI, we actually have an ascending trend line. Very slight. Okay. Okay, that's for Aussie dollar. And lastly, I think we have time to look at one more chart. Let's look at dollar francs. Okay, on our weekly time frame, prices recently reversed. On our daily time frame, you can see prices moving slightly upwards. So here's my first support. My first resistance may be here. Since this is a weekly time frame, and my first second support over here. Okay, again, looking at Fibonacci retracement first, because this is the easiest to identify. We have the 23 and the 38. Next, looking at okay, I think that's all the levels we have. Now let's pull out some indicators again. We will use MACD and Ichimoku first. Okay, prices are moving above the cloud, so it's giving us a pretty bullish signal. MACD was giving us bearish. Okay, this is next. Let's look at RSI and stochastic, as well as Bollinger Bands. Okay, we can see our stochastic is giving us a pretty bullish signal. RSI as well. Okay, Bollinger Bands aren't really telling us much, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And yeah, I think that's it for dollar franc. Okay, so just before we go, just wanted to quickly mention this website because we often get quite a few questions on Fibonacci. So this is completely free to use. We just go through some videos on retracements, extensions, some things to look out for, and some guidelines. But I think, yeah, we should also show you a bunch of examples. I think the most important thing for Fibonacci is to be able to identify multiple Fibonacci levels to form confluence areas. So confluence areas are essentially combining Fibonacci levels to find clusters where Fibonacci levels congregate. Okay, so yeah, usually people treat Fibonacci they're contrarian. Yeah, so we have some examples of what confluence areas look like and how to identify them. Yeah, feel free to check this out. We also have some risk management techniques. So you should always place your stop loss beyond and your take profits before any confluence area. Um, yeah, feel free to take a look on your own. And yeah, if there are no other requests or questions, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys found the session helpful. And I will see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, guys. Bye. Trying to get to the thank you page, but something is wrong with my laptop today. So, yep. Thanks, everyone. See you guys again next week.